Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. Welcome back to the channel here on YouTube.com. It is Monday, October 26, 2006. I almost said 2017 for some. I don't know why the fuck I was thinking about 2017. It's probably because I was playing Hell in a Cell 2017 on the Lightning Flash update a few days ago. But regardless of that, it is October 26, 2020, Monday, excuse me. I apologize. I got my fucking years messed up. Welcome to the official rewind for WWE Hell in a Cell 2020, which of course streamed live on the WWE Network last night, with the pre-show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are a few hours away from Monday Night Raw. And we have a lot to talk about here on Hell in a Cell. Probably the pay-per-view with the worst build-up. Barely any card. Barely any hype around Hell in a Cell. But for the 3 hours that we got, for the lack thereof a card that we got a semi-decent, not good, not great, certainly not good or great. I mean, what is there good or great that is overwhelming? What is there that is overwhelmingly good or great about the WWE main roster product? Even NXT has lost a lot of luster. I ranted a hell of a lot on NXT this past Saturday on the Lightning Flash update, but what we got was a not fully decent, but semi-decent pay-per-view. We got some great moments inside Hell in a Cell, but realistically, outside of the Hell in a Cell matches, Hell in a Cell 2020 will ultimately go down as a skippable pay-per-view. It will go down as a completely missable pay-per-view. And it really does go to show you that the WWE product as a whole, it really does need to change. It really does need to step it up. And it needs to be completely redone. Everything needs to be completely redone about the WWE product. It's crazy to think that, I actually saw this tweet a couple weeks ago. And I can't remember who exactly it was from. We actually, it said something along the lines of, we actually thought that AEW coming into the mix a year ago would actually make the WWE product better, and they'd have to step it up. They've actually gotten worse, including NXT. It was a tweet somewhere along the lines of that. I don't understand how you could possibly get any worse, but the WWE product right now, we already know, is completely floundering. It is absolutely dead in the water. Most of the shit that we've seen tonight, completely fucking dead, completely fucking lifeless, completely fucking irrelevant, unimportant, completely skippable. We're going to dissect everything that happened at Hell in a Cell 2020. We got a lot to talk about. So first things first, before we get started here, and then I got to get some college work done before Monday Night Raw. First things first, I need you to follow me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMakerDJS. You'll find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Please follow me on Instagram and Periscope at TheDJStorms. I'm planning on doing some more more screams. Well, we get some screams while watching the fucking main roster product. And of course, we're going to get some screams on Halloween on Saturday. But more streams, live streams, I'm planning on doing on Periscope. Once everything dials down and college dials down, I'm planning on doing some more stuff over on Periscope, away from the DJ Storms brand, and give you guys an insight into my life. I actually once did that. I did that not that long ago, when the pandemic first started. I was doing a few streams here and there. I actually did a stream for like 2 hours, a chill stream for like 2 hours, so I may do some shit over there at some point. Add me on Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. My email is StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, of course, all the links are in the description. If you missed the Lightning Flash update from Saturday, I will also put the link in the description. Please go check that out after this video is over. I actually do want to send out some special thank yous to everyone who tuned into the rundown for WWE Hell in a Cell 2020 with Earl Cole. We absolutely are ecstatic at the amount of views that we got there. He is absolutely humbled. I'm absolutely humbled. It's almost at 200 views. We absolutely killed it there. Whenever we come together, man, you know it's going to draw big numbers. So I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you who went out of your way to watch the rundown for Hell in a Cell 2020 with Earl Cole. I can't wait to have him back on the channel. He is fucking fantastic at what he does. He is a huge, huge supporter of me, a huge advocate of me. I can't thank him enough for all the support that he has offered me. So shout out to everyone that watched the rundown for Hell in a Cell with Earl Cole. If you haven't already done so, we're 5 minutes into the video. Why haven't you hit the like button? I need you to hit the like button. If you haven't already done so, please do so. Hit that like button. And when you hit the like button, you gotta keep the conversation going. The conversation needs to be sparked up here in this bitch. So I need you guys to spark up the conversation and keep the chat alive. Share this video out on all platforms of social media, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Tumblr, whether it be Twitch, whether it be fucking Pinterest, whatever the fuck you use. Whatever the fuck you use. Share it out so we can get as many people in here as possible. Of course, when you keep the channel alive, you gotta hit the subscribe button because I got goals and I want to grow. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I can't help but find myself at a fucking standstill, at a fucking stalemate. I can't seem to get over 2,120 subscribers. Every single time, it seems like YouTube wants to fucking purge me. So please, help me out here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And when you do that, you gotta hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you'll know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best fucking time to be on YouTube. Because it's the only time you're gonna get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Do I have it? I do. Because everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister, just so you know. Everybody. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. Let's get straight into the matches here at Hell in a Cell. We're not going to waste any time. I'm pretty sure no one really cares about the overall Hell in a Cell show, to be quite honest with you. A lot of people weren't even watching. A lot of people just joined in for the fucking hell of it because they were fucking bored. We started with the pre-show. And it was R-Truth versus Drew Gulak for the 24/7 championship. Not that I really give a shit, because the pre-show in WWE does not mean a goddamn fucking thing. Not that I really give a shit, not that it's really going to mean anything in the long run, but Drew Gulak and R-Truth are fighting on the pre-show for the 24/7 championship. The Hell in a Cell pre-show consists of a 24/7 championship match. The 24/7 championship is on the Hell in a Cell card over the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, the Raw Women's Championship, the Raw, SmackDown, and Women's Tag Team Championships, and Rollins versus Murphy. If that does not tell you how fucked up the priorities of this company really are, I really don't know what to tell you right there. And I said it last night. I'll say it again. The 24/7 championship, it needs to be abolished. The sooner that it's completely taken off of WWE television, the better. I don't know who still finds this shit funny. And to be quite honest, if you do, you are a fucking disease to the community in every fucking sense of the word. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit who I piss off. You're a fucking disease to the community, and you don't even deserve to be talking about anything professional wrestling related. So Drew Gulak, he invited little Jimmy over, and he kicked down little Jimmy. R-Truth didn't take too kindly to this. Drew Gulak tried to take over control. Truth with the John Cena-like comeback. We had a lie detector for it too. Truth with a roll-up, and Truth wins the match, and then afterwards, we had the Lucha House Party, Akira Tozawa, and Drew Gulak all chasing after R-Truth, and that was it. This match went 6 minutes. No one gave a shit. The match fucking sucked. And the saddest thing about all of this, is the fact that R-Truth and Drew Gulak, they have all the potential in the world to be solid mid-card acts. If you think about it. They have all the potential in the world to be solid mid-card acts on Monday Night Raw, fighting guys like Ali and Benjamin and Cedric and who else you got in there? Hardy, Riddle. You got a nice mid-card right there. But does WWE capitalize on that? Of course not. Instead of being solid mid-card acts on Monday Night Raw, they are regulated to a pre-show match for the 24/7 championships. This is what WWE thinks of their talent. Nothing but a fucking circus act, and Drew Gulak and R-Truth are clowns number 1 and 2. They are the front-runner clowns. They are the front-runner clowns in Vince McMahon's circus. It's pathetic. It really is pathetic. I feel so fucking bad for Drew Gulak. I really do. And on top of that, why is the 24/7 championship still a thing? It has been around for a year and a half. What has it done to enhance the WWE product as a whole? Nothing. It's done nothing. To be quite honest, it's actually made the product worse. It's actually made the product worse. It's like everything that WWE institutes immediately just turns to shit. Immediately just turns to shit. I don't even know what I could possibly say to tell you how fucking bad this shit really is. R-Truth retains the 24/7 championship, and we got the Lucha House Party and the Ghost Ninja Tozawa chasing after R-Truth to end this segment and match. Moving on to the main show, we kicked off the show with Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. This was an I Quit Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Universal Championship. Now, I actually thought that this meant that Sasha Banks and Bayley were going to main event the show, but apparently they did not main event the show. However, this match definitely could have main evented the show. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, they gave you probably the best told story inside Hell in a Cell that I've ever seen. I've been watching the WWE for over 12 years. I've seen a lot of Hell in a Cell matches, but this has to be the one Hell in a Cell match where I feel as though they told the best story in the ring. Roman actually came out wearing a Thanos-inspired Superman gauntlet. A glove, a golden glove. Thanos-inspired. So that was actually a very nice touch there. I actually like that, paying a little tribute to what Rollins did and how he did a Thanos-inspired boot for his SummerSlam 2018 match against Dolph Ziggler. So that was a very nice touch there. I actually caught that. I like that. So Jimmy Uso was in the back. He was waiting to come out. He actually came out a little later, and that's where things started to get really good. So we had Jey with 2 suicide dives sending Roman into the cell. And Jey went for a move in the corner, and Roman hit a spear out of nowhere. Roman then hit a second spear. Now, this was an I Quit Hell in a Cell match, so obviously Jey Uso had to say, I quit. Roman was then screaming at Jey Uso, I don't want to have to do this. Jey Uso ended up fighting back, hitting a super kick and an Uso splash. Roman did not quit. Jey hit a second splash. Roman did not quit. Jey then brought out a strap. Now, things started to get interesting here. Jey started whipping Roman with the strap. Jey went for another whip of the strap, and Roman Reigns hit a third spear right to the torso area of Jey Uso. Jey did not quit. Roman then took the strap and started whipping Jey. Roman then tied the strap around Jey's wrist, and then tied the other end around his wrist, and he tried to pull Jey into him. Jey Uso ended up using the momentum against Roman Reigns. He tried to fight back, and Jey Uso then locked in a camel clutch strap submission hold, and Roman Reigns ended up passing out. Roman did not say, I quit. You have to say the words, I quit, and I actually like this. I actually like this little detail right here. Roman Reigns passed out, but the ref did not call it. Roman Reigns was then on the receiving end of Jey Uso taunting him. Reigns fired back with a Superman punch and a guillotine choke, and Jey passed out. He did not say the words, I quit. Roman then started getting frustrated, and this is where things really started to get good. He says, you're going to have to learn. So then he put Jey Uso upside down by the apron with just his neck and torso area hanging out. He did a drive-by right to the side of the head. Jey Uso did not quit. Roman then took the steel steps and he wedged the steel steps right up against Jey Uso's head. And Jey Uso was at the mercy of Roman Reigns, where he did a drive-by drop kick into the steps, sending the steps into Jey Uso's head, sending Jey Uso's head into the steel LED post. So, Jey Uso is just fucking lifeless at this rate. He didn't say, I quit. The ref was looking to throw the match out, and Roman's like, no, you're out. So he tossed the ref out of the ring. The ref, on the outside, opened the cage door, tried to reason with Roman, but Roman didn't have any of it. More officials, including Pat Buck and Adam Pearson, started coming out. And Roman Reigns, he then pinned Jey Uso under the steps. And he's like, you're going to have to learn. You should have acknowledged me. These were the consequences that I'm talking about. So Roman Reigns then was about to smash the steps right into Jey Uso's head. Jimmy then ran into the ring, covered Jey, and said, stop, stop, stop. So, we had Jimmy asking, what are you doing? What are you doing? This ain't it. He was crying. He goes, this ain't Jey laying here. This is Josh laying here. This ain't Jimmy talking to you. This is John talking to you. And this is where it started to get really, really good right here. Jimmy was saying, this ain't it, Us. He then took Roman's hand. He's like, we can work this out. We can work this out, man. So Roman was crying. Now Roman's crying here. Roman's crying. He don't know what he just did. Everyone watching thought that Roman was having a moment of humanity. And Jimmy, he extended his hand. Roman took his hand and he's like, that's it, Us. That's it. That's what we can do. We can work on this. So they're head-to-head. They're head-to-head, very brotherly, very intimate. And out of nowhere, Roman just snaps out of this moment of humanity and locks in a guillotine choke on Jimmy. After he said, I love you. Jimmy said, I love you. And Roman's response was, put him in a guillotine choke. So Roman has Jimmy in this guillotine choke. And Jimmy's reaching out for his brother. He's reaching out. He's holding his brother's hand. And his brother's coming back to life. Jey's awake. And Jey screams, I quit. Just so Roman would let Jimmy go. They booked this match perfectly. Perfectly. They actually outdid what they did at Clash of Champions. They booked this match absolutely perfectly. I loved that touch in the end. Jey Uso, notice the story told here. Jey Uso was taking a fucking ass whooping. He got his ass beat by Roman Reigns. But he did not quit. Roman Reigns continuously beat him down. He drive-by kicked him in the side of the face. Drive-by kicked the steel steps into the side of the face. Threw him into the cell. Whipped him with a strap. Superman punched him, speared him 3 times. Jey did not quit. So what does Roman do? Roman does all of this just to get Jimmy to come out there. Jimmy is trying to appeal to Roman's humanity. Roman fools Jey Uso. Roman fucks over Jimmy Uso and cries to lure Jimmy Uso in. Lured him in. Like a fucking snake. Lured him in. Locked him in a guillotine choke, and he used Jimmy just to get Jey to quit, just so Jimmy would be spared. Roman Reigns looked like an absolute remorseless savage, and that is fucking great. This is the best that Roman Reigns has ever looked, and at this rate, Roman Reigns should never be babyface ever again. This man is excelling. This man has exceeded all fucking expectations that I think anyone has ever set for him as a heel. This man is exceeding Every single expectation set for him as a heel ever since he turned. Outside of that one fuck up at Payback where they had him sign the contract in the most illogical way possible and have him join the match after the match was already 85-90% done. Outside of that, Roman Reigns and his heel run has been an absolute grand slam, and this was the cherry on top of the cake. Excellent, 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 excellent fucking storytelling. Afterwards, we had the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika, come out, and they stand with Roman, as Roman is anointed as the tribal chief, and he holds the Universal title up. Roman Reigns looked like an absolute beast. A merciless predator. And that's what I love. I love the story. Excellent touch. Roman Reigns used Jimmy Uso to get Jay to say, I quit. And now they all have to fall in line. Jimmy and Jay now have to fall in line. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, retains the Universal Championship in an excellently told story in an I Quit Hell in a Cell match. I cannot wait to see what they have lined up for Roman Reigns going into the near future. We then had Elias versus Jeff Hardy. So Elias, he came out, he promoted his new album, sang a song for Hardy. Hardy interrupted. The match began. Elias, he tried to wear down Hardy. Hardy came back with a very sloppy-looking dropkick. Very sloppy-looking dropkick and splash pin. It really didn't even look like these two wanted to be in the ring together. Their styles do not mesh well together. This is a very, very, very fucking sloppy match. So Elias, he then hit an electric chair powerbomb for a 2. Very, very sloppy again. Hardy with a whisper in the wind, and the heel of his boot caught Elias right on the top of the head. I'd be surprised if Elias doesn't have a concussion after that. So Hardy hit the twist of fate. Elias then rolled out of the ring. Hardy hit Elias with the guitar after Elias tried to hit Hardy with the guitar, and Hardy gets DQ'd. Elias wins, and that was that. This match didn't even go 7 minutes. I don't even know what the fuck the point of this was. What the fuck was the point of this if it was going to end via DQ? DQs on pay-per-views, they need to be abolished. They need to be absolutely fucking abolished. No one gave a shit about this feud coming in. No one's going to give a shit about this feud now. Guarantee you we're going to get a fucking guitar on a pole match. Either tonight on Raw or leading up to the Survivor Series, perhaps, on Raw. Because that's the level of creativity that Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon have. I don't understand why you didn't just have Jeff Hardy or Elias win the match, to be quite honest with you. I don't understand. I really didn't give a shit who won this match. I didn't really give a shit who won this match, mainly because of the fact that it doesn't really matter because both men aren't going anywhere. Jeff Hardy's locked down for a 5-year contract, so it's not like WWE's going to push Jeff Hardy in any meaningful role. Elias is a dead act. No one cares about Elias. He's not anything special in the ring. He's like a mini version of Braun Strowman. WWE failed to capitalize when he was hot. That match with Rollins for the Intercontinental title at Money in the Bank 2018, that was Elias' last gasp of hope. After that, that's it. Elias lost. Elias was never the same again after that because all Elias did was lose and lose and lose, and he never won the big one. So people aren't going to care about Elias now. On top of that, the gimmick is stale. The gimmick is overdone. Elias' gimmick is pretty much in the same boat as the New Day gimmick. Stale, overdone, overstayed its welcome. We could deal without it. I don't understand why you couldn't have just had one of these guys come out clean. I don't even give a shit who won this match. One of these guys could have just came out clean, and that would have been the end of the feud. And then they could have moved on to something else for both men. Because realistically speaking, again, who the fuck gives a shit? Shit like this actually brings the quality of the show down. Not up, down. Enough with the fucking DQ finishes on pay-per-views. Enough. It does not help anyone. It doesn't protect anyone. It does not do anyone any favors. See, I don't understand why you didn't just have Jeff Hardy win, and you could build up Jeff Hardy as a potential challenger for Bobby Lashley and the United States Championship. You have fucking Retribution feuding with the Hurt Business, putting the U.S. title on the back burner when it's supposed to be the second biggest championship on Monday Night Raw, which is your flagship brand. So you could have had Jeff Hardy win here. You could have built him up as a challenger for Bobby Lashley to help enhance Bobby Lashley and help enhance the United States Championship. But you see, that would have been the logical thing to do. That would have been the logical thing to do. And if it involves logic, WWE is not going to go forth with it, because why the fuck would they? Why the fuck would they? If it makes sense, you can bet your ass that WWE is going to do the exact opposite. Elias wins via DQ. Very, very sloppy match. I don't even understand what the point of this was, and that was that. That was that. The Miz versus Otis. This was for the Money in the Bank contract. That was on the line, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm going to be quite honest with you right here. This match was actually a lot better than I expected. Went about 8 minutes. Doesn't mean it was pay-per-view worthy. Doesn't mean it was good. Doesn't mean it was great. Doesn't mean it was anything overwhelming. But this match in itself was actually a lot better than I expected. It was actually fast-paced. It was actually smooth. The offensive maneuvers actually connected. It wasn't sloppy at all. I'm going to be quite honest. It was actually a lot better than I expected. It was actually bearable. I actually tolerated this match. Doesn't mean it deserved to be on the pay-per-view. Matter of fact, I'm still wondering why Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy wasn't on the pay-per-view. That would have actually enhanced the show and made it a little bit better. But no, you put Miz and Otis on the pay-per-view. You put Applejack, Kangaroo Jack, Slapjack, and Bobby Lashley on the pay-per-view, which we'll talk about later. But Miz and Otis, actually a lot better than I expected. I was not expecting it. My expectations were very low, but this was actually a lot better than I expected. Doesn't mean it was pay-per-view worthy, but it was a lot better than I anticipated. So, The Miz hit a DDT on Otis for a 2. He tried to keep Otis at bay. Miz with a big boot to the face of Otis. That actually connected flush, so I actually got to give The Miz credit there. He actually delivered a believable offensive maneuver there to Otis. His offense fucking sucks, and I'm going to rant about that in a minute. So, Morrison pulled Miz out of the ring. Miz then tried to pull the ref over. Morrison tried to hit Otis with the briefcase, but the ref caught him red-handed and ejected him. Now, at that rate, I thought that Otis was going to win the match and retain the briefcase. We had Otis with a discus lariat to the Miz. Actually, a fairly decent discus lariat, I'm not going to lie. It's not like Mr. Brody Lee's lariat, but a fairly decent discus lariat by Otis. That got a 2 count. Otis was then kicked away by The Miz as The Miz was about to get catapulted by Otis. Or I believe Otis was setting up for a submission hold. So Miz kicked him away through the ropes, and out of nowhere, this came as a shock here. Not that it really means anything, but this came as a shock here. I don't think anyone predicted this. Tucker, out of nowhere, hit Otis with the briefcase, knocking Otis unconscious, and The Miz covered Otis, and The Miz wins the Money in the Bank contract. The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank. Afterwards, Tucker was interviewed. He said that all these years, he's had Otis's back, but everyone was like, hey, Tucker, don't speak much. Hey, Tucker, just stay in your lane. Hey, Tucker, move over so Otis could have the spotlight. He said Otis can't tie his own shoes without him. And then afterwards, Otis ambushed Tucker, and a brawl broke out before they went back to ringside. The Money in the Bank briefcase is off Otis, but here's something that I don't understand. I saw some people rejoicing over this. What the fuck are you rejoicing over? This match, at the end of the day, while it was a lot better than I expected, it ultimately means nothing in the grand scheme of things because both candidates were shit candidates for the briefcase. Otis should have never won the briefcase to begin with. That briefcase should have gone to Aleister Black, but of course they didn't do that. Of course they didn't do that. They wanted to go with Otis because Otis was Vince McMahon's big hot hand that they wanted to play. Vince McMahon apparently saw money in Otis, and Vince McMahon wanted to give it to Otis because Otis makes Vince McMahon laugh. They gave it to Otis. That was fuck-up number 1. That was fuck-up number 1. And to be quite honest with you, Otis killed. Otis absolutely fucking killed everything that the Money in the Bank briefcase is supposed to be, and The Miz is really no better. Whether you want to admit it or not, The Miz is no better for the Money in the Bank briefcase for various reasons. This man, The Miz, has been floating around in an ocean of obscurity. He's been floating around in an ocean of obscurity for the entire fucking year. After that little stint, that brief little stint with Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan towards the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, outside of that, The Miz has not had any relevant storylines. He has not been booked like a star. This type of version of The Miz is not WWE Championship material. Maybe 2 years ago when he was feuding with Daniel Bryan in 2018, maybe then I would say, yeah, this Miz is WWE Championship material. But this one, I don't even know who the fuck this Miz is. Miz and Morrison have been made into the biggest pair of jobbers on WWE television throughout the course of the entire year. The Lucha House Party has looked better this year than Miz and Morrison. Alexa Bliss has looked better this year than Miz and Morrison. And she sucks! And Alexa Bliss fucking sucks! She's a waste of a payroll. And she's looked better than the Miz and Morrison have done all year. Miz and Morrison have been booked to be the biggest pair of jobbers on WWE television all year. On top of that, The Miz has regressed in the ring. And I'm not talking about in terms of fluidity. I'm not talking about in terms of timing. I'm not talking about in terms of smoothness. I'm talking about in terms of intensity. I have watched The Miz's matches very, very closely over the course of the last 5-6 months. And I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what the fuck he's going for. But the way that he wrestles, he has some of the weakest offense that I think I've ever seen from a WWE superstar. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know what he's going for, but it legitimately looks like he doesn't even want to be in a wrestling ring. It legitimately looks like he's treating his opponents like they're made of glass. It legitimately looks like he's purposely trying to go soft on them, and his opponents are trying to sell it, but there's no fucking impact. There's no oomph behind his moves. What are you doing? Come on. You're a WWE superstar. You're not a fucking ballet dancer. I don't know what he's going for, but his offense sucks. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know why he's decided to pretty much go in there and pussyfoot around. I really don't know. I really don't know. It is beyond me at this rate. But it's really not like The Miz is any better of a candidate for the Money in the Bank contract. See, maybe if this was Aleister Black, maybe if it was AJ Styles, maybe if it was Matt Riddle, maybe that would have been a little bit more believable. But do you really expect The Miz? You really expect The Miz to cash in successfully? You really expect The Miz with Randy Orton, who just won the WWE Championship? Even if Randy Orton didn't win the WWE Championship, do you really expect The Miz to cash in successfully? We got Orton as the WWE Champion now, and they're pretty much waiting in the wings for Edge. They're pretty much waiting in the wings for Edge to come back. So Edge can go into WrestleMania and beat Orton for the WWE Championship, which, to be quite honest with you, really is not needed. It's not needed, but we'll talk about that when we get to the main event. But The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank. He is no better than Otis. He's a complete jobber. His offense sucks. And to be quite honest with you, I do not expect him to cash in successfully at all. I do not expect anything from The Miz. Miz wins the Money in the Bank contract. Match was a lot better than I expected. And to be quite honest with you, Tucker turning may have been shocking, but at the end of the day, is anyone really going to care? No. No one cared about Otis winning the briefcase. No one cared about Heavy Machinery when they split up. And no one's going to care about Otis and Tucker in a feud, especially since they're on separate brands. So how is that going to work? Unless you do the Raw vs. SmackDown dynamic at the Survivor Series and you can have Tucker and Otis. But I don't see them doing that because you got Orton as the WWE Champion, Roman as the Universal Champion. I don't think they're going to do heel versus heel. So more likely than not, you're not going to do the Raw vs. SmackDown dynamic because they have not shown any signs of doing the Raw vs. SmackDown dynamic, and they're just going to base the show around The Undertaker. But we're supposed to believe that the brand split has any sense of importance. We're supposed to believe that the brand split means something, yet you're probably going to have Otis and Tucker on both brands feuding with each other when Tucker's a Raw superstar and Otis is a SmackDown superstar. This is going to be another Enzo and Cass incident. Both of these men are going to absolutely flop. They're going to fail. Fall flat on their face. If you were going to break up a team, why didn't you break up Miz and Morrison? Miz and Morrison are actually much better separately than they are together. Miz and Morrison could have both been solid acts in the mid-cards on both SmackDown and Raw, respectfully. But of course you didn't do that. You wanted to break up Heavy Machinery because you want Otis to be the star of that group. Heavy Machinery, who realistically were shafted for the New Day to win the tag team titles 5 times, 6 times, 7 times over. Heavy Machinery should have won the tag team titles in the summer of 2019. Just so you know. No one's going to give a shit about Tucker. No one's going to give a shit about Otis. The Money in the Bank briefcase has been completely devalued. The Miz is not going to do the Money in the Bank briefcase any good. The Miz is not going to bring any prestige back to the Money in the Bank briefcase. And to be quite honest, the Miz should not cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase respectfully. If anything, just go forth with Randy Orton and Edge and let that be it. Get it done. Get it done. Miz wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't give a shit what happens with Otis and Tucker. It's going to be another Enzo and Cass incident. To be quite honest, I hope they split up Miz and Morrison. I hope they split up Miz and Morrison. Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Hell in a Cell match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm actually still wondering why this match didn't main event. I mean, I'm not really complaining because I'm glad the WWE Championship is in the main event. Took them 6 fucking pay-per-views, but hey, at least they got the main event correctly. The WWE Championship main eventing the show as it should. Because it's the WWE fucking Championship. But if you're looking for an exception, this has been building for over a year, and Bayley and Sasha have the deepest, most personal rivalry in WWE right now. So realistically, this would have made sense for it to main event, and this would have been the correct match to have inside Hell in a Cell in the main event. But WWE didn't do that. Regardless of WWE not doing that, this was an excellent match. This was actually the best women's Hell in a Cell match to date. This was the best women's Hell in a Cell match to date. The first one with Charlotte and Sasha, it was very good, but very sloppy at times, and that mainly has to do with the fact that whenever Charlotte is around the table, it never fucking breaks, and they actually blamed Sasha for that. That goes to show you how fucking privileged Charlotte is, that they blame Sasha that the table didn't break. The one with Becky and Sasha was very good, but that ended way too abruptly with Sasha Banks tapping out to the disarmor from Becky Lynch. Still a great match. But this match undoubtedly, overall, everything that happened from the beginning, the middle, the end, everything that followed through made this the best women's Hell in a Cell match to date. And we're going to go over why. Sasha Banks thwarted every single weapon strike thrown by Bayley. We had Sasha bringing out a table. Sasha then used the table as a launching pad, hit a Meteora off the table into Bayley, into the cell. She then went up to the top, hit another Meteora into the ring for 2. Sasha then wedged a kendo stick, or 2 kendo sticks rather, in between the steps in the cage. Bayley ended up drop toe holding Sasha into the kendo stick. Sasha went head and neck first into the kendo sticks. That looked like it sucked. Sasha then fought back and she powerbombed Bayley off the apron into the cell. Bayley looked like she landed hard. Bayley then was on the receiving end of a lot of offense from Sasha until then she hit a sunset flip powerbomb, sending Sasha head first into a chair that was wedged in the corner. That looked great. We then had a Macho Man elbow drop by Bayley for a 2. Bayley then brought out some duct tape, and she duct taped 2 kendo sticks together, and she set them up between the ring and the cell. I actually thought that that was going to come into play later on, but it actually didn't. So Bayley kind of trolled us with that one. Sasha then used a fire extinguisher on Bayley. Sasha then started whipping Bayley with the kendo stick over and over and over. Bayley then used the chair to block a frog splash from Sasha. Bayley hit the arm trap driver on the floor, rolled Sasha back into the ring, and Sasha kicked out. Bayley then had enough of this shit. She brought out a ladder. And Bayley then set the ladder up on 2 propped up chairs. And it was a ladder and 2 chairs. She made a ceremonial bed for Sasha in a way. So she placed Sasha on the ladder. She then took a can of spray painted an X on Sasha's abdomen. X marks the spot. She took the chair and she went for a elbow drop with the chair onto Sasha, onto the ladder, but Sasha moved out of the way. Sasha then did a springboard off the ladder into a Meteora on Bayley. Then she hit a Bayley to belly on Bayley on the ladder, but Bayley kicked out. Bayley then hit a sliding knee and a Bayley to belly, but Sasha kicked out. Sasha then wriggled the chair around Bayley's neck and locked in a Banks statement with the chair. And Bayley then tapped out to Sasha Banks. Sasha looked at Bayley for a good 10 seconds, and then the reality set in. Sasha Banks is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Undoubtedly, like I said, the best Women's Hell in a Cell match to date. Excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. Excellent match between Bayley and Sasha Banks. Well fucking deserved for Sasha. Sasha Banks finally gets a win inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha Banks beats Bayley. She is now a Grand Slam champion. And now Sasha Banks is definitely on the route to being what she should have been many, many years ago. Now, do I trust WWE to do that? Absolutely not. But I do hope that Sasha Banks will have a nice, lengthy reign with the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Now, there is one glaring issue here. There is all but one glaring issue here. I don't want to be that guy. Well, to be quite honest, I already am that guy. But if we're going to be quite honest here, we can sit here and we can praise this match all we want. How it was the best women's Hell in a Cell match to date. How Sasha Banks and Bayley are 2 of the best women's wrestlers on the face of the planet. How Sasha Banks is a fucking legend. How Sasha Banks is a future Hall of Famer. How Bayley's a future Hall of Famer. How Sasha Banks won the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. She's a Grand Slam Women's Champion. It was one of the best matches of the year. It's going to go down in the annals as one of the best matches of 2020. One of the best women's matches in the modern era for WWE. We can go on and on about that. However, this outcome is both good and bad. Now, it's good because Sasha Banks finally gets what she deserves. And hopefully we are looking at Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37, with Bianca Belair winning the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. So we can jump for joy there, and we can praise this match until we are blue in the face. We can talk about this match for however many days in a row. We can talk about this match all month until the next pay-per-view. But the main issue here is the fact that this outcome pretty much spells doom for the Royal Rumble, and it pretty much confirmed that a certain Rowdy one, who is currently training with the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper, is going to be returning in January. She is going to be winning the Royal Rumble, and she is going to be laying down for a certain queen, a certain entitled bitch who is tall, blonde hair, and says woo. I don't want to be that guy, but this pretty much confirmed that Ronda Rousey is winning the Royal Rumble. Ronda Rousey's winning the Royal Rumble. Charlotte is going to return within the next month or two. She's going to beat Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And we are going into WrestleMania 37. Vince McMahon is going to have his wet dream of having Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And Ronda Rousey's either going to lay down or she's going to tap out in a figure 8 to Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair is going to have another career accolade. She's going to have another career accolade on her resume that reads, defeated Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. It is going to be a long and exhausting WrestleMania season. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we are in for an absolute horrific experience. Charlotte Flair is coming back. She's going to beat Asuka. Ronda Rousey is winning the Royal Rumble. Because do you really see anyone else winning that Rumble? Unless you're going to do Sonya Deville, and you have Sonya Deville resurface, and she faces Asuka at WrestleMania. But do you think that WWE is going to do that? You really think that WWE is going to push Sonya Deville over Charlotte Flair? Vince McMahon has been foaming at the fucking mouth to do Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. And the only reason why he didn't do Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair this year at WrestleMania was because A, Ronda Rousey didn't want to come back yet, and B, he wanted to get the NXT Women's Championship on Charlotte to see if Charlotte could draw some viewership to NXT to try and beat out All Elite Wrestling. The match was excellent. Best women's Hell in a Cell match to date. Very, very happy for Sasha. Well-deserved for Sasha, but this pretty much confirmed that we are not seeing Sasha win the Rumble, and Ronda Rousey is going to win the Royal Rumble and lay down for Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 37. Like I said, it's going to be a long and exhausting WrestleMania season. Bobby Lashley versus Applejack, Kangaroo Jack, Jackie Legs, Slapjack. This was for the United States Championship. This match was made because Ali made a challenge to the Hurt Business on the pre-show. You pick one of us to face one of you on the Hell in a Cell show. And they chose Slapjack, and Bobby Lashley made it for the United States Championship. So, Slapjack getting U.S. Championship opportunities out of thin air. Great. And yet they wonder why the United States Championship is not looked at as anything special by the majority of the fucking wrestling community. So, Slapjack here with a cannonball in the corner. That was all the offense that Slapjack got. That was all the offense that Applejack got. We had a spine buster and a hurt lock, and Slapjack tapped out in 4 minutes. 4 minutes the match went. Matter of fact, it took Bobby Lashley less time to get Applejack to tap out than it did T-Balls to tap out. Applejack tapped out in 4 seconds. T-Balls tapped out in 5. So I guess T-Balls can hold that accolade high. He outlasted Slapjack. Afterwards, Retribution came out to the ring. The Hurt Business came out, and Retribution retreated, and that was it. That was that. If Monday wasn't bad enough, as if Monday wasn't enough, WWE just reminded you that Retribution is absolutely dead and buried. A complete failure in every sense of the word. This is the second loss within a week. 4 minutes. Slapjack was beaten, tapped out in 4 seconds. And then we had Retribution come out to attack Bobby Lashley, and the two big guys, Mace and T-Bar. Disgrace and T-Balls. T-Blue Balls. They could not take down one man in Bobby Lashley. The Hurt Business didn't even need to come out. Bobby Lashley was taking out all 4 members of the Hurt Business. And Ali ran away like a little bitch. They all retreated. I really don't know what else I can say about... I really don't know. I really don't know what else I could say about this. I really don't know what else I could say as far as this goes. The sooner that they're off of television, the better. At this rate, you would be better off just completely taking them off of television. I'm going to say it again. Just take them off of television. Take them off of television. Have them spend a month or 2 away. Don't even mention them by name. And then have them return to whatever fucking show you want to put them on. Whether you put them on Raw, whether you put them on SmackDown, whether you put them on NXT. Just have them return under their regular names. Have them return under their regular names. It's a lost cause at this rate. It really is a lost cause. They're dead. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a single shit about Retribution. The entire concept of Retribution and everything that WWE wanted to make Retribution out to be, it's bad enough that you had logic gap after logic gap after logic. It's bad enough that they have their own logo. It's bad enough that they have their own contract. It's bad enough they have their own theme music. But now they have 2 losses already on their resume in the WWE. Retribution is a complete flop. It's a complete flop. I don't know what else I can say about that. There is absolutely no hope for him. And to be quite honest with you, I hope that they just go away. Just end the fucking storyline. End the storyline, end the angle. Like I said on the Lightning Flash update, I feel so fucking bad for Mustafa Ali. The guy can't catch a break. When is his fucking contract up? I would leave if I was him. I would leave. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. This was your main event of the evening last night. I'm going to be quite honest here. I was expecting a lot more, but the match incredibly underwhelmed. I don't know what they were going for, but it really wasn't all that special. Wasn't necessarily bad. Wasn't necessarily a bad match. But all in all, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, a very, very underwhelming Hell in a Cell match. Realistically, it was more like mild fucking peril in a cell. So Randy Orton tried to ambush Drew McIntyre before the match even started. Drew McIntyre wasn't even having any of it. So the match didn't even start. Orton and Drew McIntyre, they brawled all around the cell. They entered into the cell and the match starts. Randy Orton was on the receiving end of a lot of offense. Orton then used the steel chair against Drew. Orton then cut Drew down to size. He brought out a table. Drew then mounted a comeback. A couple of belly-to-bellies to Randy Orton. A swift neck breaker and a kip-up. Drew McIntyre then caught Orton on the outside with a belly-to-belly through the table. Orton then used the ropes to his advantage and hit a draping DDT, but Drew McIntyre kicked out at 1. Randy Orton then brought out some bolt cutters and he cut the chain on the door. Orton then decided to walk up the ramp. He lured Drew McIntyre in. Drew McIntyre went out after him. They brawled on the outside until Orton took advantage, and Orton then climbed the cell. Drew McIntyre then followed suit. Orton had a steel pipe on top of the cell, and we had a brawl breaking out. Drew was then hit with a low blow with the pipe. Orton then tried to climb down. Drew followed suit. Randy Orton chopped out Drew McIntyre's arm, and Drew McIntyre crashed through the announce table. That was pretty much the OMG quote-unquote moment of the night. And to be quite honest with you, look, I respect what Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton did here. I respect that they're willing to put their bodies on the line for our entertainment. I respect Drew McIntyre for wanting to take a huge-ass spot off the side of the cell and crash through the table. I respect that, but we have seen this spot so many fucking times recreated. We have seen this spot recreated so many fucking times to a point where it's not even exciting anymore. It doesn't even exude an OMG moment. We saw this spot. We saw this exact same spot literally 2 years ago at Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler when they crashed through 2 tables and they weren't even involved in the Hell in a Cell match. We've seen this spot already. This spot has been overdone at almost every single Hell in a Cell event throughout the course of however many fucking years that they've been doing the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And you know what, to be quite honest with you, that really does explain why a lot of people want these gimmick pay-per-views erased. So we had that. Drew McIntyre was coughing, hacking, bleeding from the mouth. Drew McIntyre then started crawling away. Orton was leading Drew McIntyre back into the cell. We had Drew McIntyre ducking a clothesline and a Claymore connects, but Randy Orton rolled out of the ring. Drew McIntyre then put Randy Orton back into the ring, and Drew McIntyre went for another Claymore. Drew McIntyre missed the Claymore, Randy Orton ducked it, and Randy Orton connects with the RKO, and Randy Orton becomes a 14-time WWE champion, ends the reign of Drew McIntyre. I'm happy that the WWE Championship is finally in the main event of the show, as it should be. But this was extremely underwhelming. This was very, very, very underwhelming. I don't necessarily know what they were going for. And to be quite honest with you, it almost seemed like they were holding back. It's like Sasha Banks and Bayley and Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, they went balls to the wall, and all we got was a table spot and Drew McIntyre falling off the cell through the announce table. I don't know about you, but it really did seem like they were half-assing it in this match. I don't really know what they were going for. I respect what they do, but this was a very, very, very underwhelming Hell in a Cell match. We had some decent spots here and there, but overall, very, very underwhelming. Wasn't necessarily terrible. Trust me, I've seen much worse Hell in a Cell matches. I prefer this Hell in a Cell match over what happened with Rollins and The Fiend last year any day of the week. Don't get me wrong. But Randy Orton wins the WWE Championship. Great. Orton is the WWE Champion. Why didn't you just give it to him at SummerSlam? This feud has been buried, completely buried so far into the ground that I just really could not bring myself to even give a shit about Randy Orton winning the WWE Championship. It's just like, eh. And on top of that, it didn't even need to happen, to be quite honest with you. It didn't even need to happen, to be quite honest with you, because of the simple fact that Drew McIntyre and his WWE Championship reign, that was the main priority here, and Randy Orton's already a made man. And the feud with Edge really doesn't need the WWE Championship. So I really didn't understand why Randy Orton even needed to win his 14th WWE Championship. And the only reason why it didn't happen at SummerSlam is because WWE is so fucking lazy that they refused to actually build up any other credible challengers for Drew McIntyre. So you drag this out for 2 more months after the fact that Drew already beat Orton at SummerSlam. And now we are at this stage. And that was that. Randy Orton is the new WWE Champion. Now, what does this mean? More likely than not, it means that Edge is going to be coming back in February. He could win the Elimination Chamber. Could he win the Royal Rumble? I hope not, to be quite honest with you, because that, quite frankly, is not needed. But Edge is more than likely going to return at the Rumble, or he's going to return at the February pay-per-view, maybe the Elimination Chamber, and we are going to see Randy Orton versus Edge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, even though that really does not need to happen. To a certain extent, even though Randy Orton didn't need to win the WWE Championship, I'm actually a little bit happy that he did. Mainly because of the fact that Earl Cole, shout out to him, he actually sent me a text saying that Dave Meltzer reported that Brock Lesnar was supposedly rumored to return at Hell in a Cell and spark up his feud with Drew McIntyre. And if that was the case, Drew McIntyre and his WWE Championship reign were absolutely fucking doomed at the Survivor Series, and Drew McIntyre would have lost the WWE Championship at the Survivor Series to Lesnar, completely undoing everything that you built up Drew McIntyre to be. But to a certain extent, I guess you could look at this as Drew McIntyre being protected by the Hell in a Cell, since Orton has the experience factor and Drew McIntyre has never been inside Hell in a Cell. You could take into account that Drew McIntyre fell off the cell through a table and he was bleeding from the mouth. And if Drew McIntyre won, then it really wouldn't have been that believable. You could play up that. But to be quite honest with you, Drew McIntyre losing the WWE Championship in a competitive Hell in a Cell match, while underwhelming, it was competitive. Drew McIntyre losing the WWE Championship in a Hell in a Cell match to Randy Orton, in a sense, it protects Drew McIntyre in a way. And Randy Orton is the new WWE Champion. I'd much rather have Drew McIntyre lose in a competitive Hell in a Cell match to Randy Orton for the WWE Championship than lose to Brock Lesnar in a sprint match at Survivor Series. Is Drew McIntyre buried? No. Drew McIntyre will be just fine. He had a great reign as WWE Champion. Nice and long. 203 days. I'm glad he did. He deserves it. But at the end of the day, does Randy Orton need the WWE Championship? No. Should he have won the WWE Championship? No. Am I a little happy that he did? Yes, because in a sense, it protects Drew McIntyre, and we're not getting Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Thank God. We're going to get Edge and Orton, and if that is the case, then Edge is going to lose that championship immediately after he wins it. Randy Orton is the new WWE Champion to close out on Hell in a Cell. Very underwhelming Hell in a Cell match. Semi-decent show overall. But at the end of the day, Hell in a Cell will go down as a very skippable show, a missable show, a show where WWE had the potential to make it better than it was, but knowing WWE, they fell flat on their fucking ass because that's what they do. They're World Wrestling Entertainment. They fucking suck. The product needs to change. The product needs to improve. When will that happen? I don't fucking know, to be quite honest with you. I don't even care at this rate. I'm just here to shit all over WWE and to piss off the people up in Stanford who are watching. And I know you people are fucking watching. Trust me when I tell you, I know. More people than just Casey Catanzaro's watching. Trust me on that. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. To be quite honest, it was a pretty quick rewind. Not my usual energetic self. I had a few moments here and there, but I really just didn't give a shit in the grand scheme of things. It's very, very hard for me to care about anything that the WWE product is doing, to be quite honest with you. And to be quite honest with you, I have more enjoyment doing my advanced accounting homework than I do watching the WWE main roster product. So, ladies and gents, if you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. I, of course, will be back this Saturday. I will be back on Saturday. And I will be back for the Lightning Flash update, in which I will go live. I will go live on Saturday. And I will be dressed in a Halloween costume, but I'm not telling you what it is. I'm not telling you what it is. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what it is. Actually, no, I won't. It's going to be a surprise. I'll be in my Halloween costume on Saturday. Come and celebrate Halloween with your boy, DJ Storms. Come and celebrate Halloween with a live edition of the Lightning Flash update. I will be on Saturday live. You already know. It's going to be DJ Storms Saturday Live, not Saturday Night Live, because Saturday Night Live fucking sucks right now. Too much political fucking garbage on that show. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storm. This has been The Rewind. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. I will catch you for Monday Night Raw tonight, and I will be there to take my notes and shit all over the WWE product, like I always do, because the WWE product sucks. Vince McMahon sucks. Bruce Pritchard sucks. Kevin Dunn sucks. And everyone affiliated with the WWE management crew outside of Triple H sucks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms, and I am a vulgar, disrespectful prick. And I am damn proud of it. I'll catch you for Raw.